The presidential election of 1912 is considered one of the most significant presidential elections in American history. More than four parties were involved. The Socialists elected Eugene V. Debs, the Democrats elected Woodrow Wilson, the Republicans elected Taft, and Theodore Roosevelt broke from the Republicans to be elected by the Progressive Party, the Bull Moose Party. Magnificently spoiling the Republicans' votes, Theodore Roosevelt was a major cause in Wilson's victory. Wilson won by 435 electoral votes to 88 votes to Theodore Roosevelt, and only 8 electoral votes to Taft for Taft. And although Eugene V. Debs won none of the electoral votes, he won 6% of the popular vote, which was pretty impressive for a fourth party. This election was very significant during the early 1900s because it was the high point of the progressive movement in terms of progressive ideals and rhetoric at the national level. Also in this election, a third-party candidate, Theodore Roosevelt of the Progressive Party, beat one of the two major party candidates, and that is Taft of the Republican Party. And so it proved that although third parties cannot win presidential elections, they can absolutely spoil them. In addition to that, Wilson's victory brought the Democrats back in power of the national government for the first time since before the Civil War, and that is gaining power of both houses of Congress and the presidency. It also brought back a lot of Southern leadership and influence in the national government. In fact, 5 of Wilson's 10 cabinet members were Southerners, and one of whom was William J. Bryan, who was Secretary of State, and last but not least, it was Wilson that led the nation into World War I and fought for the League of Nations. Wilson's 1912 platform of change was called the New Freedom. Wilson was an admirer of Thomas Jefferson and believed that a nation of small farmers and small businesses was absolutely achievable, and he sought to achieve this new freedom by attacking 3 things, and he called these 3 things the triple wall of privilege, and these were the tariff, banks, and trusts. Tariffs protected large industrialists and entrepreneurs at the expense of small farmers, so he signed the Underwood-Simmons Act of 1913, which reduced tariff rates. And then he perceived banking systems as kind of like monsters, and he believed that they pinched small farmers and entrepreneurs, and the gold standard made currency too tight and loans were too expensive for an average American. So he signed the Federal Reserve Act, making the currency more flexible, which had a very long-term effect, and probably till now. And last but not least were trusts. Unlike Roosevelt, Wilson perceived old trusts as bad. And so he signed the Clayton Antitrust Act of 1914, clarifying the Sherman Antitrust Act by specifically naming certain business tactics illegal. And he also exempted labor unions from antitrust suits and declared strikes, boycotts, and peaceful picketing perfectly legal. And so he basically achieved destroying those 3 triple wall of privilege in less than 2 years, which is really effective and very impressive.